Good afternoon. I hope you are having a great Tuesday. I'm Julie Broughton. It is 12:30. This is Take 6. This is when we get to hang out a little bit after our noon newscast and let you know what we're working on that you'll see later today. Coming up on our newscast, always a lot going on in Central Florida, and one story we've been so excited to cover, and I know that all of you have been following along as well. The Lake Mary All-Stars are now Little League World Series champions. They won the championship on Saturday. We've been along with that journey the entire time. And News 6's Ezzy Castro is checking in with some of those boys this morning. It is their first day of school this year, and for some of them, the first day of middle school. I imagine it's got to be a pretty exciting day going to your first day of middle school as a Little League World Series champion. We were there when they landed at MCO yesterday, and again, have been following them throughout the day. So let's go ahead and check in with Ezzy.
I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm happy that it's just gonna be an easy day today.
Lake Mary All-Star player Garrett Rohosen officially starting school today, along with his other teammates Hunter Alexander and Lathan Norton. The boys just got back from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, after their big win at the Little League World Series.
How's it been over the last few days and kind of just taking it all in?
It's been wild, like a dream. It's crazy.
From far away, you can see a big banner and balloons right at the entrance of Markham Middle School in Lake Mary. And even though we were not allowed inside, we saw the boys get welcomed by hugs and high fives.
Our art class yesterday made posters for the guys. We had little confetti cannons, streamers, things like that. And as they came in, everybody just started cheering, welcoming them back, high-fiving, back-slapping, that sort of thing.
So the boys missed the first 2 weeks of school, but the principal says they're not too far behind with work, but now it is time to really hit the books. Yeah. So what grade are you in?
I'm in 7th.
And this is the first day technically for you guys. Yeah. Talk to me about your ideas, what you plan on doing today.
Hopefully just sit around and do no schoolwork.
In Lake Mary, Ezzy Castro getting results, News 6.
Hopefully sit around and do no schoolwork. I like that. Of course, we'll continue to follow the Lake Mary All-Stars as we head through the day today. So you can join us on News 6 starting at 4, and we will have the very latest as well on the plans for the big parade that's coming up this weekend. The weather looking good for that. The weather also looking good for a big launch for our Space Coast overnight. We are talking about the launch of the Polaris Dawn mission with 4 private astronauts on board. It was supposed to go this morning at 3:38. It got delayed, so that means it's going tomorrow morning at 3:38. Fingers crossed, we hope. News 6 space expert, the handy newsman, so many things to so many people. Erik von Ancken joining us now. I really want to know what you're doing now, and we're going to get to that. But first, you got to update us on the launch. You look really happy. It's very hot outside, and you look very happy right now.
You know, Julie, right about now, I wish I was a Lake Mary All-Star.
Right? Can you imagine rolling up to school in your uniform the day after you win the World Series? Like, how cool is that?
Life is good for a 12-year-old. You don't have to clean gutters and downspouts for work.
I think it would be illegal if they did.
Yeah. Well, true. At 12 years old, yeah.
That'd be a whole other
Let me
news
explain
story.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, which we're not, right, which we're not going to do. So I'm going to turn the hose off in a second, but first let me tell you what I'm doing here. So, it was kind of nice that the Polaris Dawn launch was scrubbed for a night, because that means we could come to Ocoee, to James's house, to fix this.
Okay.
Can you see this?
Yeah, that's not supposed to do that.
Yeah. So that is a clogged downspout, and James is at home, and he said, I can't get it unclogged because usually I just use my hose.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, is there a way to do this if the hose doesn't work? And I said, you know what, James? We're going to bring our tools, and we're going to come out and we're going to get results at home for you. So, Julie, you happen to catch us now at 38 in the middle of getting results at home for James. So we are taking apart his downspout if we can't get his hose through. This project, like every other Getting Results at Home project, will be on clickorlando.com under Getting Results at Home, and also on the News 6 YouTube page, so you can see exactly how we get results at home for James and anyone else who has a clogged gutter every time it rains. I'm going to put the phone down.
Okay.
Now that we don't have a leaking gutter. And so let's talk about Polaris Dawn. Right. So This is kind of a wild mission, and we're headed there last night when we found out that they had scrubbed the launch. Like I said, they had the rocket vertical yesterday afternoon, ready to put those 4 astronauts on board, commercial astronauts, and then they ended up lowering it sideways because there was some sort of helium leak at one of the umbilical cords. So what they have to do is they take the rocket right there and they hook up this helium hose to shoot helium inside the rocket to pressurize, I believe it's the fuel tanks and the valves before they can actually fuel. So this is a picture of it sideways. They had a leak. They couldn't get the helium to stop leaking out of that connection point, so they put the rocket down. And now they have been investigating what exactly is going on and can they seal up that leak. Usually it's a seal, so it's not a big deal. We're expecting that they should try again tonight or tomorrow morning, I guess, early at 3:38. Why is this such a big deal? Because those 4 people you just showed, Jared Isaacman, he's the billionaire that is paying for this mission in part with SpaceX because it's a partnership because they're testing out a lot of SpaceX hardware, along with Scott Poteet. He's a lieutenant colonel or former lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. Jared and him are buddies. He used to be a fighter pilot. And then the other 2 ladies, Sarah Gillis and Anna Menon, are SpaceX engineers. So the reason that this is a largely a SpaceX team is because they're going to do that with a SpaceX capsule that has never been done before. These ladies are engineers, senior engineers at SpaceX, and they walk the astronauts or commercial astronauts through launching. They're helping run the mission from Hawthorne, California. They're making these spacesuits and they're teaching these astronauts and commercial astronauts how to do all of this stuff. So they're now going to see it for themselves. I mean, what better way to learn than really on-the-job training, doing it for yourself, so the next time you're telling people about it, you know exactly what you're going through. So what Jared said, you probably remember this name, Jared Isaacman, from 2021. What he said is he wants to advance space exploration. He paid for the first ever commercial mission. They didn't go to the space station. They just floated around in space 3 years ago. This was a big fundraiser for St. Jude's. He raised $200 million. He said he was done, but after that, he started talking to SpaceX and he said, look, we can do more. So what has never been done is there has never been a spacewalk, really, I guess, Julie, to nowhere, you might say.
Right.
Every spacewalk has been connected to the International Space Station. The astronauts float out of the space station and they float around connected to the space station. And they usually have big, bulky spacesuits with life support packs. Well, they're going to be wearing brand new SpaceX spacesuits that don't have these life support packs. So they're going to be connected to the capsule with just a hose, a life support hose. And so they can't go very far. They're going to spend about 2 hours. They're going to get to the depths of space, about 435 miles above the Earth. So for reference here, the space station is 250 miles up. So this is almost twice as high as the space station above Earth. They're going to open the hatch. All 4 are, of course, going to have astronaut suits on, those brand new space suits. And 2 of them, like I said, are going to float out into the vastness of space, being connected to the capsule. Well, why is this a big deal? 1, because it's never been done. 2, all of the capsules. So you see that hatch there? This is a pretty good animation there. It's not connected to anything. There is no airlock like what usually happens on the space station. They go into this airlock, they pressurize, they do leak checks on the suits, and then they go outside. Everybody has to make sure that these suits are working perfectly. In fact, they have to be breathing pure oxygen 48 hours before they open that hatch, because everybody and everything is going to be exposed to the vacuum of space. So once they open that hatch, whatever is in space, which is really nothing, but the vacuum anyway is going to be inside. So the inside of the capsule has never been exposed to the vacuum of space. They had to, Julie, they had to test all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know that new car smell when you get a new car? And what that smell is inside the car is the leathers and the rubber and the plastic. That smell that was used to make all of this stuff is just leaching into the air. So, you know, these SpaceX engineers are thinking when they open that hatch and the pressure changes in there, what if all these smells, you know, these vapors, perhaps these harsh chemicals start leaching into the air inside the spacecraft when you have these 4 people? What do you do? So they called it baking out. They did a bake out with the spacecraft. They put the spacecraft in a vacuum chamber to try and make sure that those toxic vapors, that new car smell, that new capsule smell in this case, doesn't vent off. And if it's a toxic gas, poison the astronauts. Again, all first. None of this has ever been done. A spacewalk has only been done by a governmental entity. So these four, two are going to stay in the capsule, and two, like I said, are going to float around. But all of them are going to be exposed to the vastness of space. And the other thing, you got time for me? I'll give you one more fact.
We always have time for you, Erik.
So they are also going at the beginning of the mission, before they do the spacewalk, they're going higher than any astronaut has in some 50 years. I believe it's about 52 years, not since the end of the Apollo missions 52 years ago. Has a capsule, a human-rated capsule, gone this high above the Earth. So first stop, once they launch, is going about 850 miles up. So that's now 3 times the height of the International Space Station. Why is this a big deal? They're going to pass through what are called the Van Allen radiation belts. And so this is an area, these belts, these invisible belts, are surrounding the Earth, and they trap the high-energy particles from the sun right inside those belts. So when the spacecraft flies through them, it's going to be deflecting, hopefully not absorbing, but probably, as it's intended to, deflect all of that high-intensity radiation as they pass through those Van Allen radiation belts. Well, again, this SpaceX capsule has never been tested to reflect a high dose of radiation. Is it going to work? It should. But that's why this is a partnership. That's why Jared said, look, let's do more. Let's test out this stuff for SpaceX. Let's make sure it works. So, you know, as I said in my story yesterday, Jared is paying with his wallet, but also potentially with his body, along with those 3 astronauts. So, Julie, when they get home 5 days later, because at that point they have to come home because they're going to be running out of oxygen, because, again, they're not connected to the space station. There is no supplemental oxygen. They're going to get home. They're going to land in the ocean, and then they're going to do tests. Doctor's going to check out these 4 humans to see how they did to make sure the spacecraft protected them, and the space suits, these new suits, also protected them.
Okay, Erik, I have 2 thoughts. First of all, I'm now very nervous about this. I'm very nervous as if I'm going up there myself. And 2, if you ever decide to stop doing TV or being a handyman, you need to be a professor, a teacher. You explained all of that so well. I was writing notes. I was taking notes. You were very talented at explaining things, and it wasn't boring.
You are very kind. I appreciate that. You know, it's been the struggle about this, Julie, is so, we're reporting on this again tonight. So after we're getting results at home here at James's house, and we finish recording everything, and hopefully he has a working downspout, we're going to go home and go to sleep because, we're going to do this again tonight, head out to the Kennedy Space Center. But as we're with you at 11 o'clock tonight for the news, and then, of course, at 3, I think we're going on TV about 3:15 tomorrow morning, presuming that launch is still going ahead. We're trying to explain to everybody at home what you just said. I mean, why this is risky, why this is kind of dangerous, why people should care, why a billionaire spending his loot to go to space is helping everybody, is helping the U.S. government, is helping U.S. citizens, because, you need to explore, you need to test these things for things like a trip to Mars. But, I mean, what are we, I'm 12 minutes in right now. To try and put this in perspective in a couple of minutes on TV is very difficult to help people understand what the heck is happening tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Well, Erik, you made it very easy for us. I feel so much smarter now than I was 14 minutes ago. I'll give you a little, 12 minutes, 14 minutes smarter than I was those minutes ago. I know you, like you said, you have to go home, go to sleep, and then head out to the Space Coast. And you can't leave James without a working getter. That would be so awful if you showed up and then you left and he was still in a bad position. So we don't want to keep you anymore. You have to go take care of James. Can you imagine? Like, wouldn't he be mad? I would be mad for him, but you're not going to do that.
Hey, so quick side note, I got to give James credit. He was watching our newscast over the weekend, and he said, he said, I know that Eric's coming to my house on Tuesday. And, of course, I anchor at 6 and 11 o'clock on Saturdays. And he said, Eric, I heard you say on TV that you're going to be out there Monday night. He said, I'm thinking to myself, how in the heck is he going to come to my house Tuesday morning and fix my downspout if he's at the Kennedy Space Center at 4 a.m.? James, thank you for watching.
Yes.
And Julie, you're the one who has the meteorological degree, not me.
Yes. Oh, are you asking for a forecast for Polaris Dawn?
No. I'm just saying, you talked about intelligence. I think you beat me. I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
We're going to get back to work. Hope to see everybody tonight, 11 o'clock, and again at about 3:15 this morning. And hope this rocket goes to space.
All right, Eric. We will look forward to your coverage later tonight. Tell James we said hi.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.